Within a block of our apartment was a rooming house where the landlady did her own home cooking, and I had my meals there. The food was wonderful. Beef stew, baked beans, homemade pies, mashed potatoes and gravy, notwithstanding the jovial complaints of the adult boarders, who were the most interesting people in the world to an 11-year-old boy. Show people. They liked me too. I was the only child there. Like thousands of men and women who grasp the opportunity to make the upward climb in this land of unlimited opportunity, Mother saved enough money to establish her own business. Her reputation as a designer and dressmaker brought good clients, but she lacked the know-how to utilize bank credit. Because of lack of working capital or the proper utilization of bank credit, Mother's dressmaking business never expanded beyond her personal work and that of 2 full-time employees. Like most persons who endeavor to establish their own business, she too had her financial problems. One morning I noticed that she seemed to be quite worried. Later that day, before she returned home, I drew out what was to me a big chunk of my savings and purchased a dozen of the best roses I could buy. My mother's joy at this token of love inspired me to realize the true joy of the giver. January 6th was always an important day in my mother's life and mine, for that was her birthday. One January 6th, when for some reason, perhaps because of Christmas shopping, my bank account was down to less than $1, I was very much concerned, for I wanted desperately to buy her a birthday gift. That morning, I prayed for guidance. At the lunch hour, while walking home from school, my ears were tuned to the cracking of the ice beneath my feet. Suddenly, I stopped and turned around. Something told me to go back and take a look. I walked back, picked up a crumpled green paper, and was amazed to find a $10 bill. That's something you'll hear more about. I was excited, but I decided not to buy a gift after all. I had a better plan. Mother was home for lunch. As she was clearing the table, she picked up her plate and found a handwritten birthday note and the $10 bill. Once again, I found the joy of the giver, for it seemed that this was a day when everyone else had forgotten her birthday. She was delighted with this gift, which at the time seemed to her quite a sum. These personal experiences will indicate that each new decision that a child or an adult makes in a given set of circumstances begins patterns of thought that later create a tremendous impact in his life. But good decisions must be followed through with action. Without action, a good decision becomes meaningless. For the desire itself can die through lack of an attempt to achieve its fulfillment. That's why you should act immediately on a good decision. I was 12 years of age when an older neighbor boy, whom I respected, invited me to attend a Boy Scout meeting. I went and had a lot of fun, so I joined his troop, Troop 23, under a scoutmaster named Stuart P. Walsh, who was attending the University of Chicago. I'll never forget him. Stuart P. Walsh imprinted in the memory of each member of Troop 23 in an indelible pattern the principles of the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. But more important, he inspected to see if each scout in his troop knew how to relate, assimilate, and use each of these principles. Not to memorize them like a parrot, but to use them like a man. I can hear him say now, when you go after something, don't come back until you get it. This principle taught by an old scoutmaster became so ingrained in me that it formed, at first without my realizing it, another step on the road to the success system that never fails. One of the most important lessons of my life forced itself on me at about the time I was graduating from grammar school. It was a lesson that turned into a major principle. You are the subject of your environment. Therefore, select the environment that will best develop you toward your desired objective. Although I was not then able to state the thought as clearly as that, I was aware of the principle behind it. When it came time for me to enter high school, I concluded that Sun High was a better school than Lakeview High, which I would have to enter if we continued to live in the neighborhood in which we had our apartment at that time. Because an important change that my mother was making in business required that she move to Detroit, we made arrangements with a fine English family in the Sun District for me to live in their home. I also decided that I would select my own friends on going to the new school. In choosing, I searched for individuals of character and intelligence. And because I searched, I found what I was looking for. Fine, wonderful persons who had a tremendous influence for good upon me. With me in a good home environment and attending a fine public school, Mother made an investment in a small insurance agency representing the United States Casualty Company in Detroit, Michigan. After renting desk space in a downtown office building, she looked with anticipation to her first day's sales. That day she was lucky. She worked hard, but she didn't make a single sale, and that was good. For every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. What do you do when everything goes wrong? What do you do when there's no place to turn? What do you do when you are faced with a serious problem? Here's what she did, the way she later told it to me. I was desperate. I'd invested all the cash I had, and I just had to get my money's worth out of this investment. I had tried my best, but I hadn't made a sale. That night, I prayed for guidance, and the next morning, I prayed for guidance. When I left home, I went to the largest bank in the city of Detroit. There I sold a policy to the cashier and got permission to sell in the bank during working hours. It seemed that within me there was a driving force that was so sincere that all obstacles were removed. That day, I made 44 sales. Through trial and error the first day, my mother developed inspirational dissatisfaction. She was inspired to action. She knew whom to ask for guidance and help in her efforts to make a livelihood, just as she knew whom to ask for guidance and help when she was faced with a problem regarding her son. And through trial and success the second day, she acquired know-how in selling her Axum policies that developed for her a successful sales system. Now she had know-how in addition to inspiration to action and activity knowledge, so the upward climb was rapid.